Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome to the first lesson of the 49 lessons that we will cover in Calling in the One 7 Weeks to Attract in the Love of Your Life. So, lesson 1 is about expanding our capacity to love and be loved. And I am going to summarize this lesson with some notes that I have that I personally thought were really, really important, that really stood out and allowed me to really soak in the lesson of that day. And I also am going to read you the quote that the author starts out every single lesson with. So you will notice in every single lesson as we go on, the author has an important quote that she uses because each of these quotes really embodies the entire theme for that lesson, and there's always some kind of deep message within it. So I love reading that before we go into the summary. And the quote for the first lesson is, "If you want to learn to love, then you must start the process of finding out what it is, what qualities make up a loving person, and how these are developed. Each person has the potential for love, but potential is never realized without work." And I absolutely love this quote because when I first found this book a few years ago, I thought I did all my work, right? I thought I went to seminars. I thought I took great online courses. I thought I read all the books, and I thought I let certain past things go. And I thought I was doing these exercises to manifest love in. And really, after reading not only this first chapter, but this entire book, it really made me realize the things that I was not truly diving into. I was just scratching the surface. And what I wanted to manifest in was all well and fine, but I wasn't becoming the person that I needed to be. And that's one of the things that Katherine talks about, is that we're not finding the love that we long for because we haven't yet become the person that we needed to be, or that we need to be. And sometimes that can be a harsh reality, but it's very true, because we're sometimes either emotionally closed off or we're chasing love. And so I love this quote when it talks about the potential is never realized without work, because work is such a powerful word. And it is a very fine line of what we think work is when it comes to attracting anything in our lives. And love in any form is a part of law of attraction. You have to love what you manifest in. That is the key ingredient. But the second key ingredient is to believe that you already have what you're attracting in, and to love what you already have, even if you physically can't see it. What happens though is a lot of the times we put in the work, okay, on the outside world. And what I mean by that is we are chasing the idea of love. We are chasing this concept that I need to have this. And it comes from fear. A lot of the times it comes from fear. So what happens when you push something? It pulls away, right? What happens when you chase something? It runs away. So that's what happens when a lot of the times I see this happening as a big mistake. People want love, but you're chasing that idea away. Now turn that work internally to yourself. When we turn that work internally into ourselves and we focus on our mind and our heart, our spirit, our body, you will find love is already there. It already exists. But we miss that point sometimes. We are trying to chase something that already exists. And that is why, if it's there, leave it alone. Don't chase it, okay? Because that's a lot of the times what happens. And it's a little bit of a hard concept for us to grasp, but we're going to dive into it more as we talk about the law of attraction and how it works. So as we go throughout this course, I want you to let go of the idea of needing to find love, of having to have love in your life. You already have it. It already exists. And this entire course is about us rediscovering that. Rediscovering that. Think about that. Rediscovering. We already have it. You're just trying to refine that again within yourself. Okay? So it already exists. And I want you to truly encompass that as we go throughout this entire course. You already have that love. And that's why it says the potential is never there without work. So this is about working on yourself so you can see the potential and know that it is already there. Now let's get into the summarizing the lesson. Love used to really be about an economic purpose, right? It used to be for creating a family. It used to be about procreating, right? And that was really the main point of finding a lover, of finding someone in our lives that's going to be stable, right? But it's not that way anymore. People really now, we are at this point, we are at this energetic level of truly expanding our energy and finding the spiritual love. And so we understand that love is the expansion of ourselves, right? And so the expansion of ourselves is really the key to our growth and the key to our development, our self-development. And spirituality used to be this thought where, you would go off and you would meditate on this mountain and you would journey off and veer off and find yourself. But that's really not the way that we perceive spirituality anymore. Spiritual really now means embracing. It's embracing the allowance for us to see others, see ourselves, and be seen. Allow us to be seen by others. It is the ability to be vulnerable with not only ourselves, but with others. And it is to give love and be able to receive love as well. And so the way that we see romantic love and spiritual love, many people think that that's very different, but it is very much not. Romantic love and spiritual love are very much the same thing, because spiritually we have to work on ourselves, right? But we also have to romance ourselves, because to spiritually love ourselves is to truly love ourselves, and that's to romance our own ideas, romance our own our own thoughts, our own creativity, our own dreams, our goals. That's really what it's about. And so romantic love and spiritual love are really truly one and the same when you really look at it on a deeper level. And this is no longer about finding a mate. This isn't anymore about finding a partner per se, right? This is really now about wanting to find a soul mate where you connect on a soul level. It's about finding a spiritual partner, someone that has worked on themselves as much as you have worked on you. Someone where you can be vulnerable, like we talked about, and be able to be seen and be able to see the other person, because we've seen ourselves and we've seen what we've worked on and what we've allowed in and what we've let go of. And so Katherine in this lesson brings up a really great story, and I love this story because it's so important. It ends with two important questions. And she tells the story from the co-author who wrote Chicken Soup. And he wrote about this story where this woman had actually died, and she came back and spoke about, we hear this a lot, right? A lot of people that pass away and then come back talk about this light that they see, and they typically see this angelic being that has a message for them. And so this is exactly what happened with this woman. She died and she saw this angelic being, and the angelic being told her that you're not done being here on earth, but I want you to come back onto this earth with two important questions to really think about. And the first one is, what wisdom have you gained in this lifetime? Not knowledge. What wisdom have you gained in this lifetime? Sometimes we want to gain knowledge, and that comes from ego. But wisdom, that comes from the heart. That's an intuitive feeling that we get. Wisdom is an intuitive feeling that we get. Think about that. There's a difference. And then how have you expanded your capacity to love? That is the key ingredient to this entire lesson. We don't always know how to expand our capacity to love. And so if you remember the one of the videos that I put up asking the 3 questions, one of the questions is, if you are looking to attract the love of your life and attract love into your life in general, what are you willing to let go of? Because in order to expand the capacity, that means we have to create room, right? We have to create room for growth. That means we have to be able to let go of the old so the new can be embodied and come into our lives. And so I really want you to take these 2 questions to heart and really think about that today as you go into your lesson. Really think about, what wisdom have you gained in this lifetime? Not knowledge, but really true wisdom. And even, look at the past loves that you have gone through. What wisdom have you gained from that? And then how have you expanded your capacity to love in the last month, in the last year, in the last 5 years, in the last 10 years, whatever it is? Because to expand your capacity to love, again, we're coming back to this quote, right? The potential is never realized without work. You can't expand your capacity without the work. And so Katherine brings up a really great point that in order for us to find the one, you have to be able to grow yourself past who you are today. You have to be able to grow yourself past who you are today, because she mentions it's a 12-step program. Think about that. They always say that our best thinking is what got us here. Think about that. Our best thinking is what got us here. And that best thinking stays that way if we don't expand our capacity to dive deeper into our emotions. Truly dive into our emotions, our wounds, our fears. That's when we can expand our capacity. That's when we can expand our thinking. But we must also be able to let go of the fear of acting out our old wounds. A lot of the times, we will attract love into our lives and we are not ready for it. We cannot sustain it because we still act out our old wounds from childhood, from a past love. So we must be willing to let that part go. And we will as we go into these different lessons. Because when we bring the best of who we are, we attract those who bring in the best of who they are. Okay, listen to that again. When we bring the best of who we are, truly, not who we think we are, of who we are on a soul level, we attract those who bring in the best of who they are as well. But if nothing else is, if it's not really about finding that love, right? It's not about physically having that love, because if anything, the entirety of this course is going to allow us to truly detect when somebody does come into our lives, to go, okay, is this person going to put in the work, or is this person not going to put in the work in order for this to work? Because if you reflect back on past relationships, I bet that you will find that you had a lot of red flags in past relationships. I know I did, and I wanted to ignore them. I chose to ignore them because we want to see the best in people. A lot of the times we want to see the best in people. But this is going to truly allow you to see, because you're going to work on yourself to go, okay, I can see, I can detect early if this person is truly going to put in the work and if they are going to show up. Because I have seen what it's like to have that potential be realized because I have put in the work of showing up, right? So you will find that connection a lot easier. But the reality of all of this is that if we choose not to put in this work, then we are choosing not to grow. And when we are choosing not to grow, that is when we are going to have a difficulty sustaining any love that comes towards us. So I know that this will be a lot of work for a lot of us, and that's okay. Embrace it. Be able to dive into this because this is a beautiful journey. We have to grow. This is a time for us to be able to grow into ourselves more than anything else. Not to grow into the outside world, but to grow into ourselves, to rediscover who we are. We're not discovering, because remember the 3 questions that again we talked about before. That main question: what are you willing to let go of? And in order to rediscover who we truly are, we have to let go of the old. Let's talk about the practice for the day. In a book, it's called The 8 Human Talents. There's a yoga instructor, Gurmukh, and she includes this beautiful, simple exercise that the author breaks down. It's a little bit more in depth, but she breaks it down to a smaller version that is really beneficial for us to be able to open up our hearts to love, open up to the capacity to grow. And so the way that this exercise works is that you want to be able to sit cross-legged on either the floor or the pillow to do this exercise. If you're unable to cross your legs, that's okay. You simply just want to sit up with a straight back, legs stretched out, and then your feet together on the floor in front of you, or try placing a pillow under you while you're sitting up on your knees. So you want to begin by stretching your arms out in front of you with your palms together, elbows straight, and with your arms parallel to the floor. As you inhale in through your nose, you're opening your arms widely to the side and expansively bringing your shoulder blades as close together as you possibly can. And the reason for this is because you want to be able to open up your heart chakra, your chest. You want to be able to open it up to the universe, up to the sky, right up to the ceiling. So you're expanding it out, okay? You want to feel that energy expanding out the heart chakra. And as you stretch, you are placing your awareness on your heart. You want to imagine that your heart is open and expanding as you fill your lungs with air by continuing to breathe in deeply. You want to feel your arms stretch out as though they're just giant wings, while keeping your arms parallel to the ground. When you've stretched your arms as far back as you can, you want to begin exhaling strongly through your nose and bringing your arms slowly back to the original position. Again, pressing your palms together, keeping your arms parallel and to the ground the entire time. And as you're expanding out, when you expand out, you are silently going to say this mantra: I open myself fully to give and receive love. Again, I open myself fully to give and receive love. And that is when you are expanding that heart. So really, truly feel those words as you take that in. Don't just hear them. Don't just think them, but really feel them resonating in your heart. You are going to do this exercise 26 times at a very moderate pace, just very nicely in, saying the mantra, and then breathing out and closing back with your hands together, your palms together. Take your time doing this exercise. If your arms get tired, shake it out, take a break, it's okay. And then continue again until you get to the 26 times. This is a powerful exercise because what we are doing right now is we are reactivating the love that's in our heart center. Your heart center is the space. If you know anything about the heart chakras, we're not going to go too far into it, but you have 7 main chakras within the physical body. And within the physical body, the heart chakra is the 4th chakra. It is the center of the physical chakras that ground us into our spiritual side of us, okay, to our higher soul's purpose. So it is the connection between the two. And this is where love is truly found, and this is where love grows. So this right now is what we are opening up, so we can flow that energy up and down through our bodies. Now there's a bonus practice as well that you can do throughout the day. And so basically this practice is just throughout the day, whenever you have a moment, come back to that awareness of this mantra. And again, just breathe in for a moment and breathe out with saying the mantra of, I open myself fully to give and receive love. Just try to find yourself doing that throughout the day, whenever you can, whether you're in the car, if you're physically going to work right now, when you have a break for a moment, you're going to grab a coffee, a tea, whatever. Just come to that awareness in that space. One more time, breathe in, say the mantra, and be able to breathe out. And that allows us to, throughout the day, just reconnect back with our heart. So that really is it for lesson 1. Those were all the key points, and that just kind of summarizes the whole entirety of what lesson 1 is. And then tomorrow we are jumping into lesson 2, which is looking through Lara's eyes. It's another great lesson. All of them are, and they will continue to expand upon each other. So with that, have a great day.